Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Says Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 19, Text 22. And this is translated with commentaries by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And the demigods are praying to become human beings. This is a section here where Narada Muni is offering his prayers to Narayan, the incarnation of Godhead, who is the predominating deity in Bharatavarsa. Sukadeva Goswami is giving Maharaj Parikshit a tour of different parts of the material universe. And this particular area is Jambudvip. And in Jambudvip there are different sections. And in each section or tract of land, Supreme Personality of Godhead is approached and realized in different aspects, different incarnations by his devotees. In one tract of land, he appears as Lord Ramachandra, and the predominating devotee there, the topmost devotee there, is Hanuman. And everyone in that particular area, which I believe is Kimparusha Varsha, they worship in the mood of worshiping the Lord as his incarnation as Ramachandra. And similarly, he appears as Kamadev, or very Cupid-like, and the foremost devotee there is Srimati Lakshmi Devi. And the residents there worship the Lord in the mood, Lakshmi Devi's mood of devotion to the Lord. And then there's his Kurma incarnation and his Boar incarnation, his Matsya incarnation, his Hayagriva incarnation. And they're all different tracts of land in Jambudvip where the devotees there all worship the Lord in his different forms. It's all kind of separated out. And here is Bharatavarsa, and Narayan is the incarnation of Godhead. And his pastime is that he performs great austerities. He performs austerities for self-control. And so Narada Muni is the topmost devotee in this tract of land, Bharatavarsa. And the demigods are also offering their prayers that one of the benefits of Bharatavarsa is that the Varnashram system is available, which means human beings that take birth in Bharatavarsa, they have the great advantage and opportunity to be able to have economic development, sense gratification, liberation. They can perform religious rituals, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And at the same time make advancement toward the ultimate goal, which is pure devotional service. So there's an arrangement in Bharatavarsa called Varnashram Dharma that allows for gradual progress. And by that, we were reading in previous verses, by that gradual progress of this structuring of society based on the natural qualities of a person is engaged in work according to their natural qualities, not according to the family they're born in, But also the natural qualities have to be, they have to have the qualities to work as a kshatriya, or to serve as a brahmin, or for farming. It doesn't just come automatically because of birth, although it can be helpful. To take birth in a family where the focus is mostly on Brahminical activities, that's a good start. But if the person that's born into that family, that child, doesn't show Brahminical qualities, then it's not enough to say that they're a Brahmin because they're born in a Brahmin family. So it's not by birth alone. So that's a great advantage of Bharata Varsa, is that this system for smooth running of society is there. And by living and working in this very favorable environment for human necessities of life, materially and spiritually, can be met. And a person, they acquire punya, or good karma, very good pious activities, because simply by acting in a way that benefits others is very pious. So if one is simply doing, this person is simply doing their occupational duty, which everyone has to do something to maintain themselves and their families. So by doing this, just doing their according to their natural propensities to work, it's actually very pious, because they're maintaining themselves and their family, and they're also adding something to society in general. Like if someone is inclined to be a farmer, they're maintaining themselves by doing the farming, and they're also providing nicely, because whatever excess is produced from the farming goes into trade, and others get the benefit of the beans or the rice or whatever it is they're growing. And similarly with taking care of cows. Their family has the milk that they need for cheese and yogurt and butter and all the wonderful things that come from milk products. And the excess is traded or sold into the marketplace, and others get the benefit also. So that's very pious. That to live like that is actually pious. Honest, to live by honest work is very pious. So, and previously we were reading, after many, many lifetimes of such pious work, they become qualified to take advantage of the association of the devotees of the Lord. So that's how Varnashram works. By engaging in Varnashram system, one becomes pious. And because they're on that pious platform, good, honest, working, hard-working people, when they come in contact with the representatives of the Lord, they can hear properly. They can take advantage of the association of the pure devotees, the saints and sages, and begin to develop devotional mood toward the Lord. It's his system. The Varnashram Dharma is his system. Everything belongs to the Lord. So by working nicely according to his system, the guidelines for his system, that's appreciated by the Lord. That's appreciated. Follow his rules and the way he structured things, and not to go against the way he set things up. Oh, you have a better idea. Some cheating thing. No, you're going along with the way things are set up. So then you become eligible to understand who set them up. Working so nicely, then actually you can develop some gratitude. Oh, this is such a nice way to live, such a nice system. Look, this is so nice. Then, well, who's responsible for this? And then the saintly persons, the devotees, those that are engaged in devotional service to the Lord, who are Krishna conscious, then they can bring others into the consciousness of who has set this up. So it's a very nice system. So that's where we're at, and the demigods see this and they appreciate it. And they're praying, oh, we want to take birth as human beings. on the planet Earth so we can take part in this. So this is a continuation of their prayers. The demigods continue. After performing the very difficult tasks of executing Vedic ritualistic sacrifices, undergoing austerities, observing vows, giving charity, we have achieved this position as inhabitants of the heavenly planets. But what's the value of this achievement? Here we are certainly very engaged in material sense gratification, and therefore we can hardly remember the lotus feet of Lord Narayan. Indeed, because of our excessive sense gratification, we've almost forgotten his lotus feet. So, the demigods, they have such a high standard of sense gratification. It's inconceivable, really, the opulence that they have, the long life, the bodily beauty and strength, and the facilities for unlimited sense gratification. The foods, the sex, the music, the art, just the beauty of the planets themselves, the ponds and lakes and beautiful birds and ducks and swans and flowers. And yeah, they have so much sense gratification opportunity. So they're also very responsible managers on a very high level, managing the affairs of the material creation. They have to manage the weather and the waters, the oceans, the air, the fire. They manage all the different activities of the living entities. So they're very responsible entities. And along with that, they also have more facility. So just like we see, someone who is in a governmental position, they usually have more facility for sense gratification. They have a bigger house, and they have more opportunities, and because of their respected position, others more inclined to serve them like this, and do them favors or whatever. So this is all based on sense gratification. Here the demigods are seeing that, well, yeah, we have all this sense gratification, but it's blinding us. We're so absorbed in sense gratification, we've practically forgotten Krishna. So what value is this? It's like the Yagnik Brahmins. Krishna was pastime as Lord Krishna in Vrindavan. The cowherd boys were hungry, and they went to some Brahmins who were preparing a big sacrifice and said, in the name of Krishna and Balaram, that's where we're coming. We're there, Krishna and Balaram, and we're his friends, and we're hungry. Can you give us some food? No, they denied it. No, we're performing this sacrifice, this austerity. No, we have to do this. It's very important. So, if they weren't inclined to serve Krishna and Balaram, what was their sacrifice for? It must have been for some form of sense gratification. Here the demigods say that they reached this high platform of being demigod, taking birth in the heavenly planets by executing Vedic ritualistic sacrifices, undergoing austerities, observing vows, and giving charity. So these Brahmins that the cowherd boys approached, they were doing Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. When the boys went to the wives of the Brahmins who were doing all the cooking for this sacrifice, they immediately gave the food which was being prepared for the sacrifice, they gave it to Krishna and Balaram. They recognized the personality of Godhead. And when the Brahmins realized their mistake, then they said, very similar kind of statement, said, what is the value of our studies? What is the value of our sacrifice? What is the value of any of this if we didn't recognize Krishna and Balaram? What are we doing? So similarly, the demigods are saying, what is the value of our achievement? Now here we are on the heavenly planets enjoying like anything, but we've forgotten Krishna. What's the value? Prabhupada's commentary. The land of Bharatavarsa is so exalted that by taking birth there one can not only attain the heavenly planets, but also go directly back home, back to Godhead. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yanti deva vrtadevan pitri yanti pitrivata bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti mab yajinopimam. Translation. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors, and those who worship me will live with me. People in general in the land of Bharatavarsa generally follow Vedic principles and consequently perform great austerities by which they can be elevated to the heavenly planets. However, what's the use of such great attainments? As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Shine punye matya lokam vishanti. After the results of one's sacrifices, charity, and other pious activities expire, one must return to the lower planetary systems and again feel the pangs of birth and death. However, one who becomes Krishna conscious can go back to Krishna, yanti madhya jinopimam. Therefore, the demigods even regret having been elevated to the higher planetary systems. The denizens of the heavenly planets regret that they could not take full advantage of being born in the land of Bharatavarsa. Instead, they became captivated by a higher standard of sense gratification, and therefore they forgot the lotus feet of Lord Narayan at the time of death. The conclusion is that one who has taken birth in the land of Bharatavarsa must follow the instructions given personally by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yad gatva na nivartante taddhamma paramamama. One should try to return home, back to Godhead, to the Vaikuntha planets, or to the topmost Vaikuntha planet, Goloka Vrindavan, to live eternally in full blissful knowledge in the company of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, so that is the problem with sense gratification, whether it's a lower standard or a higher standard, is that it is based on material energy, material body, either gross or subtle, which the forms that are there from these material bodies are impermanent. They don't last. They're like bubbles on the ocean. They appear, they stay for some time, produce offspring or byproducts, they dwindle, and then they die, or they dissolve. So it's very disturbing to have to go through these pangs of birth, death, old age, and disease, and unnecessary too. So the demigods are getting some realization of this, an appreciation of how they prayed for something lesser when they had the opportunity and were performing their sacrifices and their ritualistic ceremonies and their worship and their prayers. They were desiring something material, a higher standard of material existence, when they could have been desiring to go back home altogether, back to the transcendental spiritual environment, which is the real home of the living entity. So this is the glories of India. This is the glories of Bharatavarsa. It's such a special place. And meant to guide the world. It's the land of Krishna. Krishna appeared there many times. It's must be like the portal or something. Maybe the Stargate. It's the place where Krishna appears. He manifests there as Krishna, as Sri Krishna Chaitanya, the Himalayas. Naranarayan, Rishi is still, he'll be there in Badarikashram, manifest. The Ganges is there, Yamuna, very special place, India. It's the land of Krishna. Namasharanya. So everything is coming out of there because of Krishna, and the rest of the world will be guided by the light coming out of India. So the instruction is there for every Indian person who's born in Bhartavarsa to make their life perfect. And especially to re-establish the varnashram system nicely. Not this caste system where one is forced into a particular caste simply because of their birth. But with good insight and good knowledge that people are engaged according to their propensities. Then the whole mess will clear up. There'll be good government, and out of that, that's what the mission of Lord Chaitanya, who appeared 500 years ago, is to spread the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra and to annihilate the demons and protect the devotees. So how is that done? That's done with varnashram system. The Kshatriyas are the protectors of society and the protectors of the devotees. And the Brahmins give good guidance. They're the head. They study and preach and perform the sacrifices and serve the deities in the temples, perform the different ceremonies for society, the marriage ceremonies, the cremation ceremonies. There's so many ceremonies for society, as well as seeing that the worship of the Lord goes on nicely. The special days are honored. Janmashtami, Krishna's appearance day. They maintain the culture. And they give good guidance to the Kshatriyas, who are to see that everyone is engaged in a practical way for the benefit of society. It should be practical, that all the material necessities are there, and that there's no criminality, stealing, thieving, with these things. And also attacks from outside. Those who are outside Vedic culture may gain some force and try to attack. So the Kshatriya protects like that. And then the servants, the Sudras, the good helpers. Everybody needs a good helper. Good help is hard to find. There's the Sudras. Very nice. And they have what they need. They're very happy. Their families and their necessities are met. So, the demigods are lamenting that they didn't take proper advantage when they had the opportunity. And now here they are on these higher planets enjoying like anything. But when the credits from their pious activities, which was how they earned that position, they earned the position by all their pious activities, run out, they have to come back. They have to come back to the Earth planet. So they're not looking forward to that. It's like getting a vacation. Like, you see the principle. A person works at their job, and they save up a certain amount of money, and then they go on vacation. They spend their money. They go on a Caribbean cruise, or they spend a holiday. If they're from the States, they'll go to Europe for a holiday or whatever. But when the money runs out, which is what they worked hard, those are their pious credits, then they have to come back. They have to come back. So it's like that with the demigods. Accrue these pious credits, perform these ritualistic ceremonies, and they do sacrifices, they give charity, other pious activities, they get credits. They go to the heavenly planets to enjoy their reward, and then it runs out and they have to come back Monday morning. When they could be another kind of bank account that a person can accumulate, not just pious credit bank accounts so they can go to the heavenly planets and enjoy better sense gratification. Lie on the beach with a daiquiri. No, that not pious credits for that. But there's another kind of bank account, devotional service bank account. And it also accumulates. And when there's enough in that bank account, devotional service, and one goes back home, back to Godhead, they actually move there. They don't just visit. They move there. It's not just a vacation. It's a relocation. So whatever one does in devotional service, even some small little thing, it accumulates. Prabhupada used to say, 1 penny, 1 penny, 1 penny, pretty soon $100 in the bank account, spiritual bank account. So they're lamenting that they were putting their energy into the wrong bank account. Text 23. A short life in the land of Bhāgavata, this is the demigods continuing, is preferable to a life achieved in Brahmaloka for millions and billions of years, because even if one is elevated to Brahmaloka, he must return to repeated birth and death. Although life in Bhāgavata in a lower planetary system is very short, one who lives there can elevate himself to full Krishna consciousness and achieve the highest perfection even in the short life, by fully surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Thus one attains Vaikuntha Loka, where there's neither anxiety nor repeated birth in a material body. So we're hearing this from those who have achieved the heavenly planets. This isn't some loser speaking who's just never achieved anything, never did anything, and he's just speaking this. These are living entities who have gone through this, and they're learning by their own mistake. They've learned by their own mistake. They've performed the austerities. They've gone to the heavenly planets. They have a lifespan of thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and all the sense gratification they could ever want, except that it's temporary. Even though it's thousands and thousands and thousands of years, it is temporary, and they will have to come back. So from that platform of having achieved this, saying that a short life in a lower planetary system where there's an opportunity to leave the entire material situation altogether and go to Vaikuntha Loka, spiritual world, is preferable. And there's no anxiety, no repeated birth and death in the material body. There's only the eternal present. There's no past, present, or future. No past or future in Vaikuntha. There's only the eternal present. And everything is going on simultaneously in the eternal present. It's a matter of being in the proximity where the different activities are taking place. Everything is going on simultaneously. And according to one's desire, person's desire, then they associate and serve the Lord in that way. It's all going on simultaneously. There's no past and there's no future. Oh, no future. And you don't need future when there's an eternal present. And you don't need past when there's eternal present. It's just, how do you want to relate to the Lord? That's all. Is he your friend? Is he your lover? Is he your child? Is he your servant? Like Bali Maharaj, there's Krishna's his doorkeeper. Arjuna, Krishna's his chariot driver. Prabhupada's commentary. This is further confirmation of the statement given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bharata bhumite haila manusya janmaya janma sartika kari kari para upakar. One who has taken birth in the land of Bharata Varsa has full opportunity to study the direct instructions given by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, and thus finally decide what to do in his human form of life. One should certainly give up all other propositions and surrender to Krishna. Krishna will then immediately take charge and relieve one of the results of past sinful life. Aham tvam sarva pabibhyo mokshayashyami masutraha. Therefore, one should take to Krishna consciousness, as Krishna himself recommends. Man mana bhavamad bhakto madhyajimam namaskaru. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer me obeisances. This is very easy, even for a child. Why not take this path? One should try to follow the instructions of Krishna exactly, and thus become fully eligible to be promoted to the kingdom of God. Taktva dehan punarjanma naitimamiti sorjana. One should go directly to Krishna, engage in his service. That is the best opportunity offered to the inhabitants of Bhartavars. One who is fit to return home back to Godhead is no longer liable to results of karma, good or bad. Jai, Prabhupada is specifically he's addressing everyone, but specifically the Indians, those that have taken birth in India, because they have that opportunity. Prabhupada says, one who has taken birth in the land of Bharatavarsa has full opportunity to study the direct directions given by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna says, those of less intelligence worship the demigods. Just worship me. I'm the source of the demigods. Don't ask for higher material standards. Just ask for devotional service and I'll take care of you. You'll have everything that you need. Don't ask for these things. Just ask for me. And when this life is through, you'll come to me. So this is what the demigods are understanding, because they didn't do that. Now, what is it? Hindsight is 20/20. So now they can see with very good vision where they took the wrong turn. So by hearing from them that this is a wrong turn, from those that have done it and now are having to take the results of their actions, we can hear from them. Instead of having to go through it ourselves, we can hear from them. There's different ways to learn. One way is simply by hearing. And Prabhupada is recommending this here. He says, one who has taken birth in the land of Bhartavasa has full opportunity to study the direct instructions given by Krishna and decide what to do in the human form of life. Give up all other propositions, surrender to Krishna. And Krishna will take charge and free one from all sinful reactions. What Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So that's the most intelligent. Then there's another type of intelligence where they hear that and they even understand it. Person hears that, understands it, but doesn't do it. And that is the position of the demigods, is they know this, but they wanted to go to the heavenly planets, and now that they're there, they've learned, oh, we shouldn't have done this. So that's another way to learn. You hear it, but you don't do it, and then you get the result from your activity, and then you understand, oh, that's what they were talking about. Yes, I see now. Okay. I don't have to do this anymore. And when I get the opportunity, when this is through, and I'm out of this result, having to accept the results of my activities, when it winds down, and it will, then I have opportunity again, I'll make the right decision. And then they learn like that. And then there's other levels of intelligence also, lesser. So another type of intelligence, not as good, is they go through the results and then they still don't learn. Oh, no, I'm so sorry, please. There's 4 types of learning. Please, disregard. I got the second type wrong. The first type is good. The first type, as I've heard it, is right, that one learns by hearing. But the second type is that type of intelligent person is someone who sees someone else go through the situation. So that would be us in hearing from the demigods. So Prabhupada is saying best type is you hear from Krishna in the Gita, and don't ask for material improvement, simply ask for devotional service. Krishna takes care of everything when you do that. And then you get to go back home, back to Godhead. That's first-class intelligence. It's very rare, unfortunately. Second-class intelligence is you hear this, but you don't follow it. But you see you learn by seeing someone. You don't get it. You hear it, but it doesn't. You don't really accept it so much. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, I don't know. And you see someone else go through it. Then you understand, oh, that's what this was saying. Okay, that's what Prabhupada was saying. That's what Krishna was saying. So that would be us. As we see the demigods have gone through this, we can learn. If we can't learn by direct instruction, we can learn from hearing the demigods speak. The demigods are saying, look, we did this. We asked for a higher material standard of enjoyment. We performed the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. We did the sacrifices. We got the result, and here we are on the heavenly planets. But take it from us. This is not what you want to do. If we had it to do all over again, and because they are going to have to take birth again in the lower planets, they will have the opportunity to do it all over again. We would not ask for this. We would ask for devotional service. And even we have a very short lifetime on the earth planet, we would use it to develop Krishna consciousness and go back home, rather than go for thousands and thousands and thousands of years on a heavenly planet. We don't want it. So that's the second type of intelligence. If by hearing this from the demigods, we can understand. And we go, oh yes, we should simply serve Krishna. And then third type is, you hear from this, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. You see what the demigods are saying, you hear from them, you go, well, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. But I'm still going to do it anyway, and then engage in the Vedic sacrifices and ask for the material improved standard, a higher standard of material sanskrit, and then end up like the demigods on the higher planet. Oh, that's what everyone was talking about. Oh, if I had it all over to do again, I would. That's the third type. You have to go through it yourself to learn. And the fourth type is most unfortunate, is they hear it, They don't get it. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. What's it have to do with me? How would I be happy like that? They see somebody else go through it. Well, that's them. That's not me. I don't know. And they themselves go through it over and over and over and over and over and over again. They still don't get it. So that's the 4 types. So we're hearing from the demigods, who it appears are the 3rd type of intelligence. Because they heard it, the truth from Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Just surrender to me. Don't ask for higher material things, standard. And in their studies, certainly they must have come across these types of teachings where those that have gone through it have said, no, don't. Just ask for devotional service. Take advantage of your birth in this wonderful place, Bharta Varsa, where you have opportunity to hear about Krishna. They didn't follow it. And they went ahead and have to go through it themselves. So we have that wonderful opportunity in this Srimad Bhagavatam, by the mercy of Krishna's representative, pure representative, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. We have access to this. We can see how it works, and we just have to be a little intelligent. We have to desire the right things, not any sense gratification. Desire devotional service. We have all good guidance here to do that. And Prabhupada's making an appeal, especially to the Indians. These verses in this chapter, all about Bharata Varsa, Prabhupada over and over again is pointing out the importance of India for the benefit of everyone, the whole human society, the whole planet. It's very, very important that the Indians can revive and purify themselves. It's the land of Krishna. So Prabhupada's making his appeal. In every purport he's doing this. So this is text 24. And the demigods continue. An intelligent person does not take interest in a place, even in the topmost planetary system, if the pure Ganges of topics concerning the Supreme Lord's activities does not flow there, if there are not devotees engaged in devotion service on the banks of such a river of piety, or if there are no festivals of Sankirtan Yagna to satisfy the Lord, especially since Sankirtan Yagna is recommended in this age. Yes. So this is very Kali Yuga specific here. When you look in the word for word, the verses are the performance of devotional service to the Lord of sacrifices, which are actual festivals. And Prabhupada, who's coming in line of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is quick to remind us that the festivals and the sacrifices which are mentioned in the verse for this age is the Sankirtan festival. What a beautiful description. The Ganges of topics concerning the Lord's activities, and devotees engaged in service on the banks of such a river of piety. the Ganges of topics, or festivals of Sankirtan Yagna to satisfy the Lord. So that's the demigods are saying. Who would live in such a place? Even if it's the topmost planetary system, who would want to live there? It's Prabhupada's commentary. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in the land of Bhartavarsa, specifically in Bengal, in the district of Nadia, where Navadvip is situated. It's therefore to be concluded, as stated by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that within this universe, this earth is the best planet. And on this planet, the land of Bhartavarsa is the best. In the land of Bhartavarsa, Bengal is still better. In Bengal, the district of Nadia is still better. And in Nadia, the best place is Navadvip, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared there to inaugurate the performance of the sacrifice of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The Shastras recommend Krishna Varnam Tvisa Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagnai Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hi Sumedasa. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always accompanied by his very confidential servants such as Sri Nityananda, Sri Gadadhar, Sri Advaita, and by many devotees like Srivas. They're always engaged in chanting the name of the Lord and are always describing Lord Krishna. Therefore, this is the best among all the places in the universe. The Krishna consciousness movement has established its center in Mayapur, the birth site of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to give men the great opportunity to go there, perform a constant festival of Sankirtan Yagna, as recommended herein, Yagnesha Maka Mahotsava, and to distribute prasad to millions of hungry people hankering for spiritual emancipation. This is the mission of Krishna consciousness movement. Chaitanya Bhagavat confirms this as follows. One should not desire to be elevated, even to a place in the heavenly planetary systems, if it has no propaganda to expand the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No trace of Vaishnavas, pure devotees of the Lord, and no festivals for spreading Krishna consciousness. It would be better to live perpetually cramped within the airtight bag of a mother's womb, where one can at least remember the lotus feet of the Lord, to live in a place where there is no opportunity to remember his lotus feet. I pray not to be allowed to take birth in such a condemned place. Similarly, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that since Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the inaugurator of the Sankirtan movement, anyone who performs Sankirtan to please the Lord is very, very glorious. Such a person has perfect intelligence, whereas others are in the ignorance of material existence. Of all sacrifices mentioned in the Vedic literatures, the performance of Sankirtan Yagna is the best. Even the performance of 100 Asvamedha sacrifices cannot compare to the sacrifice of Sankirtan. According to the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, if one compares Sankirtan Yagna to other yagnas, he's a Pashandi, an infidel, and is liable to be punished by Yamaraj. There are many Mayavadis who think that the performance of Sankirtan Yagna is a pious activity similar to the performance of Asvamedha Yagna and other such pious functions. But this is a Namaparad. Chanting the holy name of Narayan and chanting other names are never equal, despite what Mayavadis think. Okay, so this really helps to clarify the super excellent position of Sankirtan Yagna, or chanting of the holy names of the Lord. It's referred to as a sacrifice, but it's not like other sacrifices, because this particular sacrifice is directly devotional service to the Lord, whereas other sacrifices, such as Asvamedha sacrifice, there's an element of something else in there, something material. It's pious. They're pious activities. And we see what happens when people perform these pious activities. They get to go to the heavenly planets. And when they get to the heavenly planets, then they get to offer prayers to Krishna that, why did I do this? I should have just engaged directly in your devotional service. I did the wrong kind of sacrifice. I did the pious sacrifice, which got me good material results, when I really should have done the devotional sacrifice, which would have gotten me back home, back to Godhead. So the sacrifice for this age, the devotional sacrifice, is the Sankirtan Yagna and the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So that's why these strong words are used that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, with Krishnadas Kaviraj compares Sankirtan, says if one compares Sankirtan Yagna to other yagnas, he's a Pashandi, an infidel, and be punished by Yamaraj. So the demigods are seeing that. Yeah, we did sacrifices, but we did the wrong sacrifices. We just did the pious ones. We should have done the devotional ones and gotten back home, back to Godhead. It's a namaparad to consider the chanting of the holy name to be some material activity. And that really helps. Really helps to clarify that. Interesting here also, Vrindavan Das in his Chaitanya Bhagavat says, one should not desire to be elevated even to a place in the heavenly planetary systems if it has no propaganda to expand the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no trace of Vaishnavas, pure devotees of the Lord, and no festivals for spreading Krishna consciousness. It would be better to live perpetually cramped within the airtight bag of a mother's womb, where one can at least remember the lotus feet of the Lord, than to live in a place where there's no opportunity to remember his lotus feet. I pray not to be allowed to take birth in such a condemned place. Such a condemned place where there's no opportunity to expand the glories of the Lord. There are no devotees of the Lord, no Vaishnavas, no festivals for spreading Krishna consciousness. And Lord Chaitanya's mercy is that he's bringing Krishna consciousness to all these condemned places. His devotees are bringing Krishna consciousness to these condemned places all over the world, because the whole world is like that. So Lord Chaitanya's movement is spreading by the mercy of his pure devotees. The whole world is condemned. Oh, how merciful the Lord is. That helps to appreciate how abominable that situation is. Vrindavan Das Thakur, I believe it's Vrindavan Das Thakur. He may be quoting somebody else, but it looks like it's his prayer. They would rather live cramped in the airtight bag of a mother's womb, where at least it can remember the lotus feet of the Lord. And that's interesting because Sukadeva Goswami lived cramped in an airtight bag of his mother's womb, way beyond the time for a normal birth. He didn't want to come out. He saw no reason to come out. He was a liberated soul. He knew he wasn't his body. He just had no reason to take birth, so he decided to just remain within his mother's womb. But what got him to come out was when his father was reciting the glories of the Lord, the Srimad Bhagavatam, so the child within the womb could hear. Well, then he wanted to come out. So it's another example of being cramped in an airtight womb, airtight bag in a womb, is he didn't want to come out. Why should he come out? There's nothing to come out for. But when he heard Krishna's pastimes, oh yes, now I will. Yeah, for Krishna I could come out. So Vrindavan Das is saying, I'd rather be in an airtight bag and cramped in a mother's womb and never come out if there's no Krishna to come out to. If there's no devotees, there's no Sankirtan Yagna, no festivals. Who wants to come out? Even if it's a heavenly planet, wouldn't want to be there. There's no opportunity. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.